Well, since this is a video about Adena Monoliths, a good place to start will be with who were the Adena. Easy answer is there were no Adena. Adena is the name of a material culture that was first excavated at the Adena Mansion in Ohio, and it was excavated by mills. The mound itself was used for railroad fill. So the distribution of Adena culture, this is the one you're going to see on Wikipedia. The problem here is that Adena has been found in the Chesapeake Bay starting off in 1955, and more Adena cultural remains have been found in the Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia areas since then. Why some archaeologists restrict Adena to the center of the nation is not really clear. It could be that they don't have enough money to travel, but that's not likely. What's more likely is that their heads are so far up their butts that they have a very narrow and restricted view based upon state funding, which means nothing to the native peoples. Having spoken about bad archaeologists, let me speak about some good ones here. Webb and Snow excavated Adena mounds in Kentucky, and what they found were large skeletons. Now, Dragoo and Neumann also excavated Adena mounds, and they also found large skeletons. This allows us to identify the Adena as being the Andes, also known as the Susquehanna to the Virginia colonists, and you can see their cultural distribution here. Now, these guys are tall. This gives you an idea how tall they were. If you have problems with this, you can contact the world-famous Marshall Becker of the University of Pennsylvania. So now we have eyewitness accounts of the Andes, starting with John Smith, the settler of Virginia. These guys were so remarkable that John Smith included a picture of them in his map of Virginia. While John Smith was exploring the Chesapeake Bay, a fleet of Andes canoes came up to his ship, and they boarded it. Here's his description of them. 60 of those Susquehannocks came to us. Such great and well-proportioned men are seldom seen, for they seem like giants to the English. They are the strangest people of all those countries, both in language and attire. As for their language, it well matched their proportions, sounding from them like a voice in a vault. Their attire is the skin of bears and wolves. Some have cassocks made of bears' heads and skins. The half-sleeves coming to the elbows were the heads of bears, with their arms coming through the open mouth. For a jewel, one had the head of a wolf hanging from a chain, with a club suitable to his greatness, sufficient to beat out one's brains. 5 of their chief werewances, that's leading men, came aboard us. Of the greatest of them, his hair, the one side was long and the other shorn close, with a ridge over his crown like a cock's comb, the calf of whose leg was 3/4 of a yard around, and all the rest of his limbs so comparable that to that proportion that he seemed the godliest man we had ever beheld. Besides John Smith, we also have the testimony of George Alsop, a London dandy who came to Maryland for work for Thomas Stockett, the province of Maryland's representative of the Andes, who gave this account of them. Those Indians that I have conversed with in this province of Maryland, and have any ocular experimental view, that is to say eyewitness, of either their customs, manners, religions, and absurdities, are called by the name Susquehannocks. That's the name of the river that they lived on in Powhatan. They're actually Andes. Being a people looked upon by the Christian inhabitants as the most noble and heroic nation of Indians that dwell upon the confines of America. Also, they are so allowed and looked upon by the rest of the Indians by a submissive and tributary acknowledgement. Being a people cast into the mold of a most large and warlike deportment, the men for the most part being 7 foot in height, with the magnitude and bulk suitable to so high a pitch. Their voice is large and hollow, as ascending out of a cave. Their gait and behavior is straight, stately, and majestic, treading upon the earth with as much pride, contempt, and disdain to so sordid a sinner as can be imagined from a creature derived from the same mold and earth. Now, besides the testimony of George Alsop, we also have that of Augustine Herman. He left us a wonderful map of the area, and it has some important notes upon it. First off, he shows us a picture of the Andas village during the time that he was there. And you can see it over here on the right side of this image. It also shows us an image of a Susquehanna canoe, dugout canoe. Now, the Susquehanna had been raiding up and down the bay on the Patuxent, who later became the Piscataway, the Occoquan, and Conoy. In one of his notes, he says that the Andas aligned with the Seneca to destroy the Erie Nation, which is quite remarkable. Finally, the Andas have the distinction of being the first people genocidally exterminated by the Jamestown colonists. That occurred in the region of Washington, D.C., and this is probably why so little is known about the Andas today. Every year, myself and my colleague Fletcher Wilson give a talk at Serpent Mound. Here's a better picture of it from the 1930s. Now, Jeff Wilson and Ross Hamilton had noticed that there was a monolith below the Serpent. And here's a better picture of the monolith. Larry Gallant noticed that there was another monolith over by Perryville, Pennsylvania, and its location is shown by the green dot on this map. I remembered that there was a standing stone at Huntington, PA. This commemorates the standing stone, and there's Huntington is the new green dot on this map.
Okay, now with the information put together, I decided to go and check for other monoliths at other Adena sites. The first one I decided to look at was Tarleton Cross. Okay, this is the stone pile here at Mound Cross, or Tarleton Cross. Some sort of a scale of it. It's probably about 5 foot tall and probably 10 foot at the base. This is the Adena thing here that they do. They do stack the stones up like that. So, and here's, see if I can get this 4x4 post in here. Yeah, see that? So you see that post there. There's a ground right there. And right there's that big pile of stone. Now that could have came off of here when they cleared that, but it's an Adena thing to stack up stones like that. There's nothing underneath there. So a couple years ago, someone came up in here and threw all these rocks off of here. And tried to get down to the center, thinking maybe, I don't know what they was looking for, maybe a crystal skull or something, maybe from Ancient Aliens. Okay, I guess that didn't record. Right down up here, let me get this up here again. Right here is the cross. You can see the edges right there. Right there's the center. It's about 10 foot 10-foot circle around hole. You come right straight down over here, right straight down over there, and right down there is that top of that piece right there. It's buried. The dirt creek has mainly buried that in, but that has not. Those are the ones that got the rubbing on them. These are what's could be water, but it more looks like what is called grinding marks. It's left when you grind on the face of a stone to flatten it out. And this over here, you can see it's the same thickness as this one is over here. And whether that was in two parts. Now see, most of the sandstone that breaks off here breaks off jagged. No smooth edges to it or anything like that. And if they do break off, they're very smooth. But you can see this sandstone here is of a different kind than this one here and that one there. It's not this. And most of this stuff around here breaks off in real small chunks. It's not. See how this just shell here, a little bit of sandstone. Most of them are round like this. This was formed. I believe this is the other part to it here. It's covered up. I'd like to dig it up, but I'm not going. I really can't. And right up there, between them trees, is the cross. Right up there above it. So if they threw it down, it would have ended up down here. Come on, Christopher.
I'm walking.
Your pants are getting wet, though.
I don't care about the pants.
We'll stop at a gas station and get another cup of coffee. And no, that's not someone's doorstep. See, they're laying right there, and there's that other one I was talking about. Could have been associated with it. But there's a bunch of concrete. That's all concrete there. If anybody wants to know, oh, look at all these square ones. That's this. No, that's all concrete.
That one long one there is roughly about 8 inches thick.
Yeah. It's about the same dimension as the one over at Tarleton Cross, correct?
Right.
He's referring to that one right there. You can see with the corner cut out of it. And the other one's 8 inches still. That one that's right there, the bottom one, closest toward us.
No, the
furthest.
long one, furthest.
Furthest way.
It's about 8 inches thick.
Yeah, it's about as thick as the other one. It's about 13 inches wide. We should have got measurements tape, but I just wanted to get this recorded just to show. So, okay. Okay, see this here? This is up on the bridge. This is on the other side. People will say, well, that stone down there is part of this rubble up here. It just got washed down. See that? If you can see that, I'm not going to get a, see that? You can see the tooling mark on that all over the place. You can see it. It's nice square. It's tooling mark. There's tooling marks on it. I can see it from here. Same with that piece. Same with that one. Same with that one. You can see tooling marks on them. That down there's got tooling. That's a piece of concrete, by the way. And even over here, that one right down there. Back off a little bit here. That one right there. See that? It's got tooling marks all over it. You can see them. You can see that tooling marks on them. You can see it. They're little grooves, is what they are. Them down there don't have that. Okay, Ed, here we go. This is right below the mound on the east end, or the west side. So, right there's a stone. Problem is with, and it's about the same thickness as the other ones. And the only problem is with this creek flash washes a lot. So a lot of it could be buried. As you can see there, the sediment stuff. But that's one there. It's you can tell it's been cut and chipped. So here we go.
Okay, here we have what we're going to do is future research on here is Glenford Fort. This is over Glenford, and if you don't think the Adena ever worked on stone, all you need to do is look at the entranceway. It's been worked from one end down to the other, from one side, and you can see the You can see here looking up, and then you can see it looking down into the entranceway. And then also what we have was the Adena, was a big, large stone mound that has been worked on since the 1860s. And here is where they actually did excavation on it and took the stone and took it over the Birch Creek. This here is the Saltville, the Saltville monolith, and you can see the petroglyphs at the bottom of it. And this is on the Wabash River here. Here we have the fish-ware that they made, and you can see the worked stone down here at the bottom of the picture.
Okay, it's likely that the Adena also modified natural stones. You can see this stone on the Keweenaw Peninsula, this glacial erratic in Missouri. And finally, the granddaddy of them all, this monolith behind the railroad bridge at Draper's Meadow on the ford between the New and the Roanoke Rivers.